And we're back, guys. As you can see behind me, the completed floor pan that we picked up from Powder Coat. You watched that whole process, but I didn't really get a chance to go over all the custom stuff we did to it, and I know I talked about it. So let's go over everything that was done in this floor pan in better detail. Come on in and I'll show you. So to start off, as you remember, this is a 65 floor pan we took out from underneath a Baja Bug. Lived a pretty good life, wasn't real beat up. We took it to Washburns and had them cut it down, so they shortened it 14.5 inches so that it'll fit our Manx body. And also, we did a couple of custom things too, because I already knew I was gonna need some things done. So check this out. This little mount right here is for our fuel pump. I'm gonna run an electric fuel pump on this car, and I really didn't want to drill holes through the pan. I really don't like the way that looks from underneath. So they made this cool bracket right here, and you can bolt a facet electric fuel pump right here. It'll bolt right in. There'll be nothing hanging out underneath it, so it looks super clean and you won't even see it. So that's the first thing that we did. Second thing, we ran a fresh fuel line all the way through. Washburns did that. So all new from front to back, and we'll cut these to the proper length when we get there. And then check this out. So Washburns makes these upgraded heavy duty brake line mounts. You can see these are a lot different than factory. They've got a lot thicker material to it. It's got a nice hole right here and then a pass through for your brake line. I think they look better. People are gonna see this, you know, this is an open body car. It's not like a Beetle, there's no fenders on it. So people will see in, you can see this, just a nice finishing touch. And I'm sure you already noticed this, which is also another Washburns piece. So what that is it's a access panel. So if you have a Volkswagen, I guarantee you've broken either a throttle cable or a clutch cable in the past. So let me show you this. Just a couple of Allen headed screws right here. And as you can see also, before I take this off, if you come in and look, this is flush fit. So if I were to put a rubber mat over it or carpet or something, you never even know it's there. It's a really nice piece that Washburns makes, and they can install this on any chassis they do. Of course, I have it do it on every single one that we do with them because it makes this job a lot easier. So you just take that off and you can get right in here. And so if you were ever to break your clutch cable or your throttle cable, you don't have to remove the whole pedal assembly to get in there and change it out. You literally just pull this cover off like I did, run your cable, attach it, put this back on, you're done. So that's a nice upgrade, especially for this Manx, because I don't want to be messing around in there if I don't have to, removing the pedal assembly, which is chrome, by the way. So this makes it a lot better. Like I said, 4 Allen screws and it's off. Makes it super easy. Then if you come back here and check this out, again, I don't like putting bolts through the chassis. So this is a mount setup for the seats that we're gonna run. And so I had Washburns use this piece of strap that matches this recess in the floor pan with threaded bolts on it so that I can just lay my seat right on it and bolt it down, and there'll be nothing coming through from the underside of the floor pan. It'll look completely smooth, which is what I wanted. So that's this part right here. If you come on back here, most people won't notice this, but this is a nice detail. I had them weld the seam on the frame horns on both sides all the way from front to back. And what that does is just strengthens this piece a little bit, because from the factory it's just 2 pieces of metal that are sort of spot welded together. It's plenty strong, but if you're trying to add as much strength as you can to this, because it's just a fiberglass body sitting on a floor pan with a pretty decent horsepower motor, they can seam weld this whole thing for you. So I had them do that. In fact, I have them do that on all the chassis that we do, because again, it's just a nice little added bonus. You're already there. Makes it really good. And then the smart ones of you that have paid attention might have noticed that the e-brake setup is missing. And you see there's 4 holes right there. So let me come around here and you stay there and I'll show you what that's all about. So typically you would have your stamped metal pieces here that your e-brake handle would go into. And what Washburn's made is this really trick billet piece that goes right there. And this is what you mount your e-brake handle with and run your cables to. So you don't have that little stamped metal piece. You've got this nice polished billet one. It uses these countersunk Allen hardware and it just screws right in. On a car where the pan shows like this buggy, I think that's pretty much mandatory. And it's not just buggy specific. You can do this on your street car too. They sell this kit right here for street cars, buggies. All you do is cut off your original mount right here, drill and tap your 4 holes. That's it. Super easy. And it works on, I think, Beetle all the way through till probably the late 70s. Check their website. It's Washburn's Metal, and you can find that part on there as well. And speaking of Washburns, you've seen me talk about this before, and we're definitely going to do this on this car. So this is your factory shift rod bushing. I'm sure you've all seen it, probably changed it 100 times. It's just this really soft, it's not even rubber, it's almost like neoprene. And it comes with this clip right here. And your shift rod passes through here, and this portion hangs on your shift rod hanger. And this is what supports your shift rod. So if you've ever had a bug where the shifter is just bouncing all over the place or gears feel kind of awkward, hard to find, more than likely this has gone bad. These are not the greatest. Up until recently, this was the only option on the market for replacement shift rod bushings. And you'd be lucky if you got maybe 6 months or a year out of it and then you're changing it again. I mean, you can see I can use just a couple of fingers and bend this thing, collapse it, even fold it in half. They're not great. And you probably have caught the video that I made on the Delrin Performance Shift Rod bushing, which is this right here. If you haven't seen the video on this, you should catch it on our YouTube station. Just look back in our videos and I'll put a link in the description so you can go right to it. What this is a full Delrin Performance Shift Rod bushing. As you can see, it's perfectly machined. It's got little indents here that grab the side of the shift rod hanger. Your shift rod passes through here. You've got your opening here and then a little recess here so that it's got a little bit of give to it for installation. But this is Delrin. This is a much stronger material. It's self-impregnating so that you don't need to really lube the shift rod all the time. And this is a lifetime bushing. These things will not go bad. We've done these on all of our own project cars. We've sold thousands of them, literally thousands of them, since we put the video out, and the response has been great. So Washburns makes this part. It's awesome. We sell these things on our website. You can find them there. If you want to know more about it or watch the install, hit our YouTube channel and you'll find the video. But this goes right in here and installs on the shift rod hanger. You're going to see me do that a little bit later, but this is the first piece that we're going to install, because after this we're putting in our new shift rod. Okay, so we reposition a little bit so that you guys can see this, and it's done in detail in that other video, but just because you're going to be able to check this out. So this is how this shift rod bushing, the Delrin one, installs. So if you look in here, you can see the shift rod hanger. That's what this rides in, and that's what holds your shift rod. So you're not going to really be able to see me do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to just slide it on my finger into the shift rod here. And then once it's kind of holding itself in place like that, if you look in, it's hanging in there. I'm just going to push it into place. I'm going to do one side and then the other. And you can sometimes do it with your finger. Usually it's a little bit tighter than that. So what I do is I'll get myself like a dowel or like a long screwdriver like this. And if you just get in here, you can just pop one side in like this, one side, and then the other side, and that's it. And then it's installed. It's super easy. Sometimes you may need to put a little bit of grease on the little ears so that they'll slide past the hanger, but that's it. It's very simple. I'm not gonna bother showing you guys how to do it because it's pretty easy and you won't be able to see it, but just know that that's going in right now. See, we're starting to assemble the chassis already. So the bushing's in, that part's done. So let me show you this. This is pretty cool. This is the shift rod that's gonna go in here. And if you look at it, obviously looks a lot different. It's shorter. Let me tell you what we did to this. So this is the original 65 shift rod that was inside this car when we got it. But what Washburns does is they shorten it. So they shorten the same length as the chassis, about 14.5 inches. And typically this would have an end on it for an early shift coupler. What we had them do was swap it for the late one. So as you can see, this end is adjustable. You can lengthen it, shorten it, whatever you need. So the reason that you do that should be pretty obvious. Every chassis is a little bit different. In case you need to make some adjustments, you can. You've got about 1.5 inches of adjustment at the coupler to get the length perfect. So upgrading to the later coupler, which is stronger, has a through bolt on it, that's just an added bonus. So this is now going to be our shift rod. It's factory up here, shortened back here with the later coupler extension on the back. One thing I need to point out on this too is, notice that this shaft now is completely clean. It's actually really, really smooth. Your factory shift rod is not gonna look that way. It's usually got marks all over it. Sometimes it's got rust pitting, or it's just grimy. You can't take that grimy piece and put it right back in. It won't allow movement inside the bushing. So what we did is just go over this with a wire wheel. You could go a step further and polish it, which helps too, but as you notice, it's fully clean, very, very smooth now. So this is gonna move inside that bushing really well. This is important. If you put the bushing in and you just slide your shift rod back in with some grease, it's gonna rip up the bushing. Don't do that. So if you've never installed this before, it's really simple. We've got our bushing hanging in there. We've got the front cover off of here because it hasn't been put back together yet. So what happens is this is gonna slide inside the tunnel like this. It's gonna pick up the bushing back here, and then you're gonna push it all the way to the back. So it's probably not gonna be much to watch on camera, but just rest assured we're gonna do it right now, and then I'll show you once it's done. Okay, so we got the shift rod in, as you can see. So this is simple. We're just gonna bolt the e-brake mount on now. Like I said, it's just 4 threaded holes with some countersunk Allen hardware. It's all part of the kit, so you really don't have to go hunting for anything. And as you can see, it's a cool finishing part, especially on a chassis that's gonna be seen like this one. Definitely worth the upgrade. So let's just screw this into position real quick. We're building this Manx chassis. So far, this has been a pretty good, easy build. Lots of sub-assembly work is already done. You guys saw the motor come together, and the trans is done. It's right there behind us. You can see over there. Benco was here and put that together for us. That was really cool. So we're gonna start putting all this stuff together. We should have a rolling car pretty quick. And then once that's done, it's a matter of putting the body on, wiring it, you know, all the fun stuff that everyone likes to do. I think we're gonna see if we can get Frank here to do that, because I am not a good wiring person, but he is. Okay, so this is basically on now. Just snug it up real quick. And that's on. Cool thing about this Manx chassis is it's so compact that I've got it on a hydraulic cart. It'll hold this no problem. I mean, you can turn it into a roller on that and then just drop it down when you're done, which is probably what we'll do. But that's in. Next step is we're gonna do the torsion bars. So give me a second. Okay, so I think the last thing we're gonna do today is baton practice. Actually, this is a torsion bar. So if you don't know how the suspension on your Volkswagen works, it's the same for Beetle, Ghia, Manx, Type 3, Bus. It's all basically the same setup in the rear. So come back here and I'm gonna show you. So in here, this is your torsion housing. And in this section back here, you've got a splined section here. And that corresponds to the splines here. So your torsion bar is splined on both sides. You've got your outer and your inner. So if you imagine if it's sitting in the car like this is your inner splines, this is your outer splines, and this is your bar. Those splines are different. The splines on the outside are not the same as the splines on the inside. As you can see, this is shorter, this is wider. So you can't really install these wrong. They only go one way. But what you can do is you can adjust your suspension. And you do that by making changes to how this bar sits in there. So inner spline and outer spline changes will raise or lower the car depending on how you've installed it. And you can look up charts on Google. It'll tell you what the number count is. It differs depending on the year of car. But basically, you're going to want to install this into the chassis, and then you're going to install your spring plate at a specific angle so that you're setting the preload on this bar, because this bar is your suspension. As this bar twists and turns, loads and unloads, your car absorbs and moves over bumps. So you want to get the angle of that plate correct when it's installed so that the car sits level and still has preload on the suspension. So what I typically do is, if you look here, it's marked, you've got right, the other side is going to be marked as left. And so this we know is the passenger side. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pass this through here, jiggle it a little bit to get it to engage with the teeth on the intersection where the splines are. And once you've got that, it's a rough idea of where your suspension is going to sit. You install your spring plate, check your angle, see if it's the factory spec. I think on this car it's like 15 degrees before you've jacked it up into position. So we're going to check all that later, but right now we're just going to install this bar. So what I do is I make sure that my inner splines are very clean. You can see we've gone through here and cleaned it. You're going to put a little bit of grease on here, and then we're just going to install it. Okay, all greased up. And it's really this simple. You're just going to, what I like to do is just keep the R up so that you can see where it's at. This is just your starting point. And I'm just going to drop it through the end here until it bottoms out. And then just kind of wiggle it around a little bit. It should find where it wants to go. I can already tell I'm in the ballpark. There it goes. You just kind of shake it around and it'll start to move in. And these get tight. All you're trying to do is just get it engaged. And we are. You can see it's now supporting itself. So this isn't in all the way yet, but it's started, and that's all I want. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to come in with the bushing and then the spring plate and get it kind of where I want it. See if I need to adjust this bar at all to get the angle that I need. And once I've done that, then I'm just going to tap this in with a rubber mallet and it's done. So for right now, we're going to leave it right there. So there's our floor pan for today. I probably won't show you guys every single step of putting the rolling chassis back together, because truthfully, it gets a little bit boring to watch. It's just a bunch of bolt turning, parts going on it, some stuff you don't even really see. So I'll spare you those details, but we'll probably film things that are exciting. A lot of people ask how to do brake lines, so I'm sure we're going to show that part of it. I'll show the pedal assembly because that's a little bit involved, so people will like that. But you know, you saw the front end portion go back together, so we're going to just bolt that assembly back on. You know, Jason built that for us a couple days ago. Transaxle, like I mentioned, is behind us. That's just going to slide right in. So probably the next time you see this, it's going to be a little bit closer to a roller. But then the real fun starts. We're going to start putting the body on it, doing things like wiring, putting the gauges on, fuel tank, turning it into a running and driving car. And truthfully, the process will go fast, but I think it's going to be really cool to see. So for the time being, I'm going to set this aside. I got a couple of things that I need to order to finish this portion of it off, and we'll bring you guys back in when we start really turning this into a roller. Should be really exciting. But in the meantime, check out all the parts that we mentioned today. The links will be in the description. So if you want to pick up something like this, build an e-brake handle mount, or the Delrin shift rod bushing, any of those things, they're all going to be links to it in the description. And share this build with your friends. Send the YouTube link to your friends that like Volkswagens and Manxes and things like that. If you ever wanted to build one, which I always have, you could do it too. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that want to see it done. So send them the link to this video and all the other ones so they can check it out too. We'll see you guys real soon with the next step.